was Granddaddy Purple.
Dang, that brings you back. GDP.
That's
right.
That original purple.
Let me guess this.
That original purple.
Yeah.
What year? Maybe 2008?
No, I was like probably 5 years ago when I started growing my first stuff.
People were making the seeds, you just hoarded them for
Yeah, it's
years,
saved for years, you know.
I just remember, like, before I had my gym, that I used to go take trips out west. You know, like I
GDP's a classic.
GDP, yeah. What's up, everyone? Welcome back.
Hey,
What's up?
Watching the Weed and Wellness Show. Lucian,
I'm Nina.
and we have two special guests today. We have Matt Sensei, and we have the Kolektor here.
How you guys doing today?
Just want to thank you both for taking the time out, getting on today, and you get to share with the community.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Same. All right. So, I mean, where are we? We've got this awesome wall in the background. We're here with no shoes on, as you can see.
Yep.
I've always got my sticky socks on and ready for anything.
Toes
So,
out.
yeah, let us know why we're here, what you guys have got going on, and yeah.
Yeah, so this is our wellness part of our life. We do jujitsu. We've been doing it I personally been training for probably 16 years at this point. I'm here 4 or 5 days a week training, getting my mental health right. Been a black belt for about 6 years too. So I train, I teach too, on top of it.
I train under him.
Yeah, he's
take his
one of my
notes.
students technically.
Awesome. Are you guys, so you're a black belt. Are you
Yeah.
also a black belt?
No, I'm not a black belt. I've been training for about 2 years altogether,
Okay.
but I've been here at ECU for about 7-8 months now.
Yeah.
About 8 months. So I've
So
been
this
training
is-
for about a year and a half, 2 years altogether.
So this is where we also do part of our weed and wellness for ourselves. We do our monthly roll and smoke here too, where we get people from the community, both the jiu-jitsu community and the cannabis community. We have vendors here, so people can come, they can do some shopping. And then we have open mat for the entire time too. So like from 5 to 10 p.m. first Saturday every month, people come through, vibe with each other, train, gi or no gi, shop, get their products and stuff, and,
And
hang out.
consume on the spot too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big
In
cloud. There's a
here?
huge cloud in this space by the end of the
So
night.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People sitting on the mat doing jiu-jitsu, taking hits of joints, passing them around. It's a good time once a month. That's like our day off.
The day off.
The day off.
One
for
day
our
a month we get, yeah.
Yeah, we're technically still working, but it's a good time for us. We're training, doing two things that we love.
Totally.
Yeah, it always goes hand in hand too. So everyone that comes in, they're always they recognize right away. They're like, "Yo, weed and jiu-jitsu."
Makes sense.
But I think it's for all of us. It's kind of like weed and whatever your outlet is to work out really or get exercise.
Before jiu-jitsu, I was into high school sports. I worked out physically, like in an actual gym, bodybuilding style workouts.
Okay.
I did physique competitions for a few years after I got out the army. So mine was more like on the aesthetics side, you know what I mean? And then got into jiu-jitsu a few years ago. And it's
He was
more
like 40
functional.
pounds heavier too.
Yeah,
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
I was
Muscle,
200,
though.
I was 210, 215 pounds.
So you were a straight bodybuilder.
wow.
Yeah,
Bodybuilder, like big dude. But I was on the smaller side, if you believe it or not.
So when did that start for you, the bodybuilding?
The bodybuilding started right after the army. When I went into the army, I went in for like infantry.
Okay.
So I didn't come out with like a trade, like a builder or a lawyer or a medic or anything like that. Like I was in infantry. My job was to find the enemy. When I came home, that job doesn't really translate unless you want to be a cop or a firefighter or a trooper or something. I don't want to do any of those things. So as an infantryman, working out was like we had to be at top of our game at all times. So I just transitioned over into the personal training, bodybuilding side of fitness when I got out the army.
And what about before the army? You were into sports, you were saying?
Yeah, before the army, I did lacrosse in high school. I played football and baseball.
So you've always been
All
out
through
there.
high school. Yeah, I've always been athletic. It's always been an outlet for me. So like, it's like weed. Weed is also an outlet for me. Like cannabis is also an outlet for me, you know. And it's also now, like my whole way of life. Like I grow for a living in New York locally. So I support my family off of the growing, and the wellness side is jiu-jitsu just to keep my mind right, you know. But it's that weed and whatever I'm doing to work out is like it's my therapy.
Totally, it's like a tool.
Yeah,
right?
always a tool for recovery, stress, patience. Like everything. It just helps with everything. I don't know. Like there's like no downside to it really, you know. But it definitely helps with the physical aspects of it.
What about yourself, Matt? When did your was jiu-jitsu the beginning for you, or was there even before?
No, so I've been an athlete since I was probably 5 years old. You know, I'm 35 now. I started playing baseball from a little kid up until teens, and then after that, actually started playing lacrosse too for high school and stuff. We didn't go to the same school or anything, but just coincidence.
Both played lacrosse though. Yeah.
Both played lacrosse, and then I picked up jiu-jitsu as I was finishing high school, probably like 18 years old about, and then been training it ever since, 16 years, and then jiu-jitsu, especially like for the majority of people that are in it, like once you've been in it for a few years, it becomes your lifestyle at the end of the day.
That's the workout.
So this, right?
Yeah.
So like jiu-jitsu in and of itself, grappling, it becomes your lifestyle, and it kind of starts molding you after you've been around for so long. You're so ingrained in it, just kind of molds you into the person that you become too, you know. And then cannabis has always been there with jiu-jitsu as well too. Like as you're coming up, people you're using it after training for recovery, just to chill, you know. So it's just always been there.
I like that you mentioned like using it after working out, to chill, having that intention.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm really
It's the wind down.
you know, I'm really trying to get more into conscious consumption myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I found recently myself, I'm a smoker. It's my preferred method. For pain, I like to use edibles.
Yeah.
You know, so it all depends. But there's a lot of like empty time that I would fill a drive. Let me just smoke. Let me just smoke.
Yeah.
But so I'm really dialing in now on
Smoking
being
with
more
intention.
With intention.
Treating it more as a medicine as opposed to recreation, right? And that goes back to like I think what the state's doing too with legalization by like specifically calling it adult use and not calling it recreational, right? It's adult use, but I think it needs to be like more looked at as a medicine first and foremost, you know, than a recreational drug.
I mean, whether people believe it or not, people smoke for a reason, you know.
Even if
like
you
there's
don't-
rare moments where you just want to get high, but like there's moments where it's like, damn, bro, like it's been a rough day. Let me go smoke a joint, you know. Or like some people smoke before their workout. Like I know he likes to smoke before his workout. I don't.
Yeah.
You know, so like there's people have preferences and smoke for different reasons. It's rare that it's just like, oh, let me just get high. You know what I
Such a
mean? There's an
versatile-
underlying reason, like.
I think even like you were saying, like recreational, when I hear the word rec, it's all medicinal. You might have bought that weed being rec, but as soon as you consumed it, whether you know it or not, you're healing yourself.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
now
yeah.
you have some intention behind it, even more so. So I feel like once we do consume, it's medicinal anyway.
Yeah.
And even if it's like just to hang out with your friends, chilling out, that's part of wellness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your mental health right there, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Some people aren't too great in social environments, and that weed helps give you the edge to like communicate with people a little more or better. You know, I know when I smoke certain strains, I can't shut up, and there's certain strains that I smoke, but I just don't want to talk. I just want to sit down and relax.
Yeah.
So it makes me
Conscious
super anxious.
consumption, right? Yeah. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, some strains like
Make you like
they're
real
not
sweaty.
the
and
best to
stuff.
smoke in stressful situations because they make you like more.
Yeah, it'll exacerbate how
more
you're feeling at
anxious
that
and
time. Yeah.
stressed. Yeah. So it's like conscious consumption, being able to know like,
Yeah.
all right, these terps and cannabinoids are gonna do this for me, or this strain is gonna do this for me in this situation. So this is a good idea. This is not a good idea. You know what I mean?
I think a big piece to like what we're doing at Weed and Wellness is like education is a big piece, like teaching people, because a lot of people they don't know about their bodies having endocannabinoids.
I think a majority of people don't know.
They don't, you know. So it's like we got to educate them in what is it that you're trying to heal, because sometimes smoking a joint may not be the right thing for you.
Yeah,
You know?
you might need an edible. It's processed differently, right? It gives you a different form of the psychoactive drug and stuff like that. So
And for others, maybe it's CBD. You know,
Yeah.
maybe it's for like
CBD.
I find for like the inflammation in my body. You know, what are those? They're water drops, water soluble.
Water
The
soluble?
CBD that I was using.
Oh yeah.
You know, that helps tremendously with my with the inflammation. So it helps a lot with my back pain.
Right.
yeah.
The
but-
Kasi?
So we actually have a strain that he grew out a few months back. It's called Berimbolo, which happens to be a jiu-jitsu move too.
Yeah.
So the guy who created these genetics is a jiu-jitsu practitioner too. So a lot of his strains that he puts out are like jiu-jitsu names, Berimbolo and stuff like that. But it's a 3-to-1 THC CBD ratio. And I like to smoke that too because like when you smoke CBD for me, like it calms you out. like gets rid of anxiety. Like I get sweaty hands and shit. Like it like calms me down and stuff. You know.
Yeah, that was a good strain that we did. It was something different. A lot of people always looking for THC, but like I've never been one to say like CBD alone will be able to do what everyone needs to be done for them. I think the combination of
The
CBD
combo,
and
definitely.
THC really like. I feel like it does a little bit more. Yeah, like maybe it is the psychoactive portion of it, but I feel like the combination, like a 3-to-1, 2-to-1, has tremendous outcome, especially for people with anxiety.
Yeah. Because I've definitely taken just CBD before, and I don't get the same calmness. You know, I feel like I need both at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But then it's like, you know, it's experimenting what works for you at the end of the day too. You know.
I mean, we're in the infancy of this. It's not federally legal.
Yeah.
We can't like experiment.
We're doing our own research.
Yeah, so it's like
Yeah, we
you
are
know,
doing
like
our
we
research.
grow it,
And
we smoke it. We
Yeah.
know what's wrong with us. So it's like, all right, I grew this strain, I smoked it, I know it helped me with this, so it can possibly help somebody else. But at the end of the day, everybody's different. So what might put me to sleep might wake you up. What might wake you up might put me to sleep. So it's so crazy how like terps and cannabinoids affect everyone's system so differently. So it's like trial and error is not even the way to go, you know? Like it just depends on you really. Like you just gotta try things and know yourself. Which is I think that's pretty therapeutic in itself, getting to know yourself.
I
Through
want
the
to
strains.
ask you both. So, when did you find cannabis? How did you find cannabis?
Yep.
And when did the cannabis and wellness and your fitness, your wellness, your well-being
Really start to take into
Really
effect.
click.
Yeah.
I started smoking cannabis in high school, right? Like a lot of people did, probably like 14, 15.
That's a social thing.
Yeah, social thing with friends. Obviously, at that age, you're not doing it for wellness reasons, right? You're just doing it just to get high most of the time when you're a kid and stuff. But I feel like I wasn't like a heavy smoker as a high schooler, and even in college as much, just like, you know, on occasion socially. And then as I started doing jiu-jitsu, as I was 18, 19, 20, you know, older guys in the dojo at the end of the day too, like after their training, like they'd go outside and smoke a little bit too, and you're looking like, I gotta go try that, you know. I wonder why they're doing these guys doing it after every class, you know. And then, like I said from before, like as you get more and more jiu-jitsu, it becomes part of your lifestyle, and then so like you kind of gravitate towards it naturally too, you know. The guys around you who you look up to, that you're training with, that you know are good people, are doing it too, so you're like, you still have that stigma in the back of your head, but you got people in front of your face who are like, yo, these are solid people, like, you know,
Yeah,
it's
because you gotta remember
nothing
the
wrong
time
with
when
it.
we were kids, it was a felony.
Yeah.
Cannabis was still like you was going to jail for when I was in high school.
Up until 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Really, or whatever, yeah.
Same.
So it was scary.
So that was kind of my transition of just, you know, seeing people a little older than me that I respected consuming with, you know, their wellness aspect of training jiu-jitsu. So I just naturally gravitated towards it, and because I was smoking weed too and liked it, but wasn't particularly using it for, you know, the health purposes, more so just to get high as I was younger or something like that, you know. But like as we get older, we learn more about ourselves, and then able to put that stuff to use better, I feel.
What about yourself, Kolektor?
Same. I started in high school, socially with friends. I'd only smoke with friends. Like I wasn't just out there like looking for weed and trying to get high. Cause there was like this stigma when we were kids. Like weed was this gateway drug that would like get you into everything else. I grew up in Hunts Point, so I grew up around all the drugs known to me. Every single drug you could think of, it was in my neighborhood. But it was always a social thing. It was like, yo, like we could chip in on a dime or something. Let's go $2 each or some shit. We all smoke joints. But the wellness didn't kick in for me until after I got out the army. So I got out the army. I'm in all types of pain. My ankles are all jacked up. I have like no cartilage, or like I can't absorb shock in my ankles. So if I'm on my feet all day, the next day I'm out of commission. Hurt.
That's from
the army. I was airborne, so we jumped out of planes, 150 pounds on my back. We rucked through Afghanistan, mountains, deserts, and all types of shit on my deployments. So my ankles, some people can take the wear and tear a little better than others, and it's all genetics at the end of the day.
Yeah.
My genetics was just piss poor on my ankles and my feet sucked. So I had to get out early. I would have stayed in, I loved it. But I got out the army. I'm nursing all these injuries. I get into personal training, and at the time when I got out the army, I wasn't smoking weed. And then I got with my girlfriend, who's my fiance now, and she smoked. She was the front desk girl at the gym that I was going to, and I personal trained at David Barton Gym downtown on 18th Street at the Limelight, which is crazy because he worked
I
right
worked
next door
at the same time. Which
at the
is
same
crazy.
time that I was personal training. They had never met.
So funny. I've been there, or I was there when it
David
was
Barton
there.
at the Limelight.
Yeah.
I was a personal trainer there for like 2 years, and then I worked out at Star Fitness in Westchester Square in the Bronx, and that's where I met her. She was smoking weed at the time, so I was like, all right, like, started kind of getting back into it, and then realized like I was bodybuilding at the time, physique competitions. I realized after I smoked a joint, the next day my body was pretty relaxed. Like I wasn't as sore as when I was just going straight I was going 6 days a week, like one rest day, going hard, 13 meals a day, crazy ass diet. Like it was so regimented. I was having like no salt, no sugar. Like I was at like maybe 10% body fat all year round. It was nuts. Maintaining, dude. Like, I gotta work out every day.
One thing getting there.
And my metabolism's fast as hell, so my calories are up to like 3,000, 3,500 a day. I had to take in a lot of meals. And weed helped me with that too. So like I'll start smoking in between meals, and it'll help me eat my next meal. Cause I was eating so much damn food. By the end of the day, I'm like, I don't even want to eat no more, you know? Just to maintain 215 pounds with my metabolism, it was a freaking nightmare. So went through all that, then I started smoking a little bit. I was like, oh shit, like I'm able to get through my meals a little better. Oh, the next day my recovery, my muscles aren't as sore. So then I started smoking again regularly. Like, got out the army in 2013. 2013 is when the weed and wellness actually clicked for me. Before it was just weed.
So what about the growing?
The growing happened. I was on medications from the VA, and
For PTSD and stuff.
PTSD, insomnia. I have a TBI, so like my memory's not that great.
What's the TBI stand for?
Traumatic brain injury. I was in an IED in Afghanistan, explosion. So if you're if you ever get knocked out boxing, if you fall on the floor and pass out,
Concussion,
that's a
right?
TBI. That's a concussion.
Yeah, I have the PTSD, TBI. I run over
Yeah.
by a car.
So you definitely have a TBI. So it affects my memory, my like short-term memory shot. I
It's
don't
like what you were
remember names
saying.
very well, shit like that. So it was I ran out of medication and I started going through withdrawals. Like I saw my father go through withdrawals. My father was a drug addict. So I'm looking at this. I'm looking at myself. I'm addicted to drugs. Like, what the hell's going on here? Like, stuff that I was getting from the VA that was supposed to make me feel better. This was before I started smoking weed again. I was using the medications from the VA, and I ran out of my medications, going through withdrawals like a heroin addict. And I'm like, nah, there's no way. Like, I can't do this. So I stopped cold turkey. I was sick for maybe like 2 weeks, and then I was finally able to get like on the mend. And then while I was at home, I planted a cannabis seed that I had found. So planted it, grew in a little closet, came out pretty good. I was like, oh, it's just a little like 4x2 wardrobe closet I grew it in. It came out pretty good. And like one plant ended up being 2 plants. Then like a month or 2 later, I ended up catching a seizure, going to the hospital. And I came home, and it was just the plants. The plants kind of helped me recover as well, like mentally, you know. So 2 plants became 4 plants, and then I started working a security job. This was like after all the personal training shit. I fell into that withdrawal type state, had a seizure, like it just all happened back to back. So I didn't get back to personal training. I ended up using my infantry background to get into armed security. I was doing corporate security downtown on Wall Street for Deutsche Bank. And I was growing little plants at home, and then 2 plants became 4 plants, 4 plants became 8 plants. I was working 80 hours a week to support my habit of growing, while also like taking care of my daughter, who I have full custody of. And then eventually it just ended up being I was supporting my life off of plants. Like I was living in this apartment, growing in a tent, and then my bedroom became plants. I lived in my living room, and I moved out of that apartment altogether, and just whole plants like in the whole apartment. And then now that's all I do. I just grow. It became my job. I made it my job.
Still trapping.
I love that you were able to make that transition. Like you know what you didn't want, like
Yeah.
being on these pills, and that I can relate to. That's a big piece of why I started Weed and Wellness. I run over by a car in 2010.
Okay.
I had left the restaurant. I got hit in the back of the head with a bottle. It was a random attack, and then I got hit in the face with a bottle.
Oh
Then
man.
here, my back, I got fucked up with a
Yeah,
bottle,
yeah, banged up.
and I come back to consciousness, and we're fighting, and there's two of them. They lock themselves in the car. I'm just furious. It was a bad decision, but
Yeah.
try to break their window open. They take off. I get in my car and get ahead of their car, get out of their car, and get run over.
Oh,
So they left me there. I was bleeding out.
Yeah.
I fractured the L4, L5, S1 in my back. I have 2 plates and 5 screws in my pelvis. I had a bruised kidney, collapsed lung, and I needed 5 units of blood to keep alive.
wow.
So like when I was in the hospital, it was morphine. I was in the hospital for 2 months. While I was there, I started transitioning off to edibles. My brother's wife was making brownies for me. I knew I didn't want to go down that route. You
Yeah,
know,
'cause
like,
morphine leads to heroin, leads to all other
Totally.
stuff. That's like, yeah.
Yeah.
you know, and it hits home. You know, like I know people. Like somebody else just died I went to elementary school with. It's just sad. It's still happening.
Yeah, it's still
you
a
know?
thing, yeah.
I don't want to be another statistic as you didn't want to. You know, so I totally relate there, and it's a beautiful thing. That's why with Weed and Wellness, I wanted to start to really spread the word of how we can use cannabis and how it can really benefit us, and how we can get away from all these pills, because
Yeah.
God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, gave us everything we need, and it comes from this. It comes from the ground.
Yeah.
It's all natural, and all these pharmaceutical companies will mimic it. How can we make this? How can
Synthetically,
we?
Trying to make synthetic THC and stuff. Yeah.
You know, so it's like
No need.
no need.
Yeah.
It's already there.
Matt, you can tell us a little bit about yourself
Yeah,
and your
yeah.
growing journey.
Yeah, so my growing journey started like 5 years ago, and it was really out of necessity for myself, really, just because I'm the type of guy, like, when I get into something, I get into it fully, right? So when I was getting into my weed connoisseurship, per se, right, I was like, I couldn't find any good weed. So it was, for me, it was like, again, necessity just to try to get good weed. I didn't have any connects at the time. So for like 18, 24 months, I just studied and would read books and stuff like that, collect seeds at the time, until I had the space and was ready to start growing. And then, so I've been growing for probably 4 years now, under the name Sensei Cultivation. I don't do it at the same capacity that Kolektor does. When I say that, I mean, like, I don't do it to survive at the end of the day, right? Like, he supports his whole life and his family off that at the end of the day. I have a few other ways that I make my dollars. So I do it more for the love and for, you know, getting my own personal flower, share with my friends and stuff like that, really.
I envy him sometimes.
But for me, it was like, I don't drink because I grew up, my father was an alcoholic my whole life, right? So like, he died when I was in my late 20s too, so I watched him my whole life, and like, watched him and, you know, thankfully learned what not to do, you know? Most people grow up watching their fathers and look at the opposite, like, I want to be like that person. I watched him and was like, I want to be the opposite of that dude, you know? Which is a fucked up thing in of itself, but we all learn from it. So I don't drink, so, you know, that is my outlet to wellness, cannabis.
It's awesome meeting people who grow weed because they love it so much, and they're growing because they want to grow the best medicine, and that's like,
Because you're creating medicine at the end of the day, you know.
Yeah.
And the way that we grow, we try to produce the highest quality medicine for like our consumers and our friends and stuff like that. You know, a lot of these big organizations, these MSOs and stuff, like, they're growing it for the dollar, right? They grow as big of a plant. Like, it's not about the medicine for them; it's about the dollar. Like for us, it's like, it's the plant first, right? Plant medicine first. Because you do it and you care for it and you love it so much and the passion's there, the dollars are gonna come anyway. It's like, don't matter, you know? That's kind of our MO.
Let's start with the present moment right now. What's
Yeah.
the favorite thing that you've got right now that you're growing? And then I want to know what's the very first thing. the very first
Sensei's easy. He's growing all sour right
I'm
now.
growing all sour diesel right now.
oh, this is
Oh.
Yeah, so
Old school.
try to, unlike the Sensei line, it's more towards wellness, right? Like, Sensei is obviously derived from me doing jiu-jitsu. So the whole Sensei aspect is, you know, that we're trying to gear more towards the wellness side as far as Sensei cultivation goes.
Sensei Cultivation is definitely a wellness brand as far as cannabis.
Trying to produce those THC CBD strains, but also keep some of the New York classics like the sour diesel, and the piffs, and haze, and
So
stuff
he's
like that.
popped, I think, like 30. He popped like 30 something seeds.
Yeah, I got 34 sour seeds that I'm hunting through right now, which
So
I'm
it's
trying to find a
like
keeper
if you
for.
had
Yeah.
if you had 30 something kids, they would all be different, right? Same genetic background, but they're all gonna have a little something different about them. We're trying to find that one that stands out that
The
can really
unicorn.
be called like, this is sour that I remember. You know what I mean?
What's your process here? So now you got 30. So how do you?
Yeah, so I have 30 now. What we do is we'll narrow it down, right? So I'm about to transplant and flip into flower. So then all these plants that I go, they're gonna start flowering. Within a few weeks into flower, I'll start taking cuts, right? I'll take a cut off of each plant, probably 2 cuts. So I'll end up with like 60, 68 cuts. From those cuts, I'm gonna save them, right? You save them, grow them out, and keep them in veg.
Hold them.
And then in the meantime, I'll finish off my crop, and then you have to go through taste testing, right? So we'll taste test every single strain that we put out there, every single sour D seed, and whichever is our favorite, we'll then take that clone and then grow it out into a mom plant. So you have one mom plant, and then from that mother plant, you can take all your cuttings and get that exact replica of that plant again, right?
Every single run.
Yeah.
He also grew one of my original strains. I started breeding cannabis a few years ago. Like I started making my own strains
Okay.
from like other people's genetics that I was hunting through, that I was buying seeds from and stuff. So like I have my own genetic lines now. He grew last run the blueberry shortcake black mamba, blueberry shortcake cross the black mamba, and it was crazy. It was like heavy blueberry, like creamy, some gassy, like real pungent terps in it, like crazy. And that was kind of the whole reason why I started growing too, because like I was getting the same shit in the street all the time.
Variety, yeah.
And then I grew something that smelled like strawberries. And I was like, what the like weed could smell like this? Oh, this is crazy. So it just like opened my mind to everything. But now we're in my garden currently, I'm hunting through all original crosses, everything that we've made. So like I have a GMO purple taipan that we created that's in flower right now. She should be done like 3 or 4 weeks. And then in my other flower room, it's 30 something plants, all our genetics, all from seed, brand new. And we're trying to curate a menu that's all original genetics. Nothing from anywhere else. You can't find it anywhere else. You can't go to anybody else to get these strains. You have to come to us.
Yep.
I mean, so that's the route we're going now. We're in our like proprietary genetics. Still hunting through other people's stuff too for new things, but we want to try to keep it mostly what we bred here in New York, like on our menu.
They're gonna be the new classic strands.
New classics.
Yeah.
Yeah, new classics. So we got like some sour going in my garden too, but he's got like the big heavy sour hunt going. After we find a female there, maybe we'll look for a male and make another cross. The collector side of our TKS Sensei business, TKS X Sensei is our legal avenue towards legalization for
It's like the
licensing.
parent company, basically.
It's basically the parent company of Sensei and the collector.
Yeah.
And the collector is more on the urban cannabis side. Like I'm from
Street
Hunts Point,
culture, yeah.
street culture, ski masks, like what you would think of like New York City, somebody growing up in the South Bronx would be into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have merch, hoodies. We had custom ski masks at one point. My whole thing is not showing my face because of what I do. You know what I mean? I don't grow cannabis as a hobby. This is my life. So
And people
for someone like me, the industry's still not too friendly with
say
it
it ain't that sweet.
yet. You
No,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
So I think
Especially for cultivators. For retailers, it's a little more lenient now because they have these loopholes where like the state says you can't sell cannabis for profit. So you can sell cannabis non for profit and use those funds to do other things with, right? Or you can have like I think quarter pound or some shit on your person at all times. Now, like in the street, you don't have to. If you get pulled over with a quarter pound, you should be fine.
Yeah.
So like selling cannabis is like a slap on the wrist now, but cultivation is still very much like a no-no. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Especially on the scale that you're still doing.
especially on the scale that I'm doing it. So
Yeah.
we're more on the urban side. We're more on the like no face, no case, like legacy, black market, like real where cannabis started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Sensei represents the wellness. So with Sensei, we'll grow those CBD, THC strains, those strains that are like New York classics, like the sours and the hazes and stuff. And the collector is more like the hybrids, like the new school and the old school, kind of combining to create like this big parent company. You know,
Old school meets new school.
old school meets new school. You can't beat them, you gotta join them, right?
Yeah. Well, you guys got the bases covered though.
Yeah. So it's all original genetics in my garden right now, and he's got a bunch of sour going.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well planned out.
The touch on the first strain I ever grew was Granddaddy Purple.
Dang,
my
that
gosh,
brings me
I
back. GDP.
That's
Hold on.
right.
Hold
That
on,
original
let me
purple.
Let me guess this.
That original purple.
Yeah.
What year? Oh, maybe 2008?
No, I was like probably 5 years ago when I started growing my first stuff.
People were making the seeds, you just hoarded them for a
Yeah,
few
it
years.
saved
you
it
know?
for years, you know.
I just remember, like, you know, before I had my gym, that I used to go take trips out west. You know, like I
GDP
that's
was
how I
huge.
get
GDP is a
along.
classic,
But
yeah,
GDP, yeah.
That was the classic out there.
Yeah.
Totally.
I totally screwed it up too. It was like it's your first grow at the end of the day, so you're gonna screw it up. But it turned out okay. But that was my first one.
Yeah. And it's so much better. Like even if it's a subpar run, like you're happy smoking it because you know it's clean. A lot of the stuff that we get shipped into New York is non-tested or literally didn't pass testing. So what happens in California is when you grow cannabis and it doesn't pass testing for whatever, mold, pesticides, or metals, it doesn't get destroyed. It gets sent to a dispo where people can then buy it and redistribute it to people. However they want, with no paperwork. So what happens is most people go there, shop, send everything back to New York. So it's not saying that if you're growing something in the state and it's that great, does it need to go anywhere?
It doesn't leave the state.
It doesn't need to leave the state, right? It can be sold right where you are
Just
for
as
top dollar.
The best weed doesn't even make it to the dispensary.
Exactly.
Dispensary.
Exactly.
Most of the time.
That's right.
I love to add dispensary.
Yeah.
But dispensary. I'm working on
And then
it.
if you hang out with them long enough, you'll start saying,
You start saying
sure,
it.
a dispensary.
And the
I'm
extra
like,
ARY.
Fuck it.
Yeah, it just jingles, got a jingle
yeah,
to it.
gives it a little extra
But
energy.
like just smoking it and knowing that it's clean is just,
Totally.
Totally.
it could look like dog shit, but it's clean. I know it's clean. It's gonna do what I need it to do. So
Especially-
like a lot of the
especially
time
when
it's
you get older.
that. Yeah.
Because you'll feel it. It's like just like if you eat trash food. If you eat McDonald's right away, you're gonna feel it. Whereas I'm sure when we were like 10 and we all wanted to go eat
Didn't do
a Happy
nothing.
Meal, it
You
was
go
like
run outside afterwards.
Yeah,
you're
like
good,
it didn't phase you at all. You were like, oh, I feel terrible now. But it probably gets worse and worse now that we're older.
Especially
what they
if-
used to make it.
Especially if you're smoking something that has unfortunately been sprayed with some type of pesticide, and it's going to give you a headache. You're going to feel like
Your
it
throat
has mold
burns,
in
it
it.
tastes funny. Like you can
But
right
sometimes-
away. I can tell. Right
But
away.
sometimes
I
you
feel it.
can't tell. Like
No?
I was talking with you on the way over here. Like she has some good, it's some Runs Cross that she picked up.
I
and I'm
tasted
like, it smells great. I'm sure it's gonna smoke good, but that doesn't mean that it passed the test.
Yeah.
True, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why like I'm very like I've gotten very well as we become more educated.
Where is it
Why
coming
wouldn't
from?
we get more picky on what we're smoking? I want to know who's growing it. I want to know as much as I can know
Yeah.
to make sure that I am putting because it is medicine. That's how I view it. So I want the best.
And we always say now how fortunate we are because we're at this point in our lives, like all the weed I smoke, I basically know who grew it. You know what I mean? It's either him or it's one of my other boys or it's me or something like that. So like we got the direct connect to know that we're getting the cleanest medicine that we possibly can.
That's why it's always important to know your source.
Yeah, not take away that weed outside is probably great, and maybe it definitely passed the test, but we just don't know.
You don't
Why not?
know.
You know, and I love
Yeah.
to if we can find out. I'm trying to find out.
Trying to meet the grower, you know, and that's the best. That's what we offer. That's what we offer people locally, right? You're able to come here once a month to the smoking room, meet the grower. You can talk to him about the strains that he's offering you. You know what I mean? Like, who knows more than the person that grew them?
I think the biggest thing too is right. We're looking at it as wellness, and you can take it the entire opposite direction by smoking something that you have no clue where it came from, or it may be like a little dirty per se, right?
Yeah, right.
Like your wellness can go from taking care of yourself to actually like harming yourself. So it's like you really do have to.
Totally, because the strain could set you might have anxiety, and this strain right here might send your
Boost
anxiety that way.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Instead of the
yeah.
opposite.
Yeah, I think the entourage effect is definitely important when it comes to that. Like
For
what
sure.
you were saying earlier, it's like really weird, you know, like Delta, whatever, 8, 9.
Yeah.
Synthetic
We don't
stuff,
mess
yeah.
with it at all. It's like the plant was created that way, and everything works synergistically for a reason, and you can't mimic it and like take this one thing out, and then it doesn't even just feels weird.
There's no need for it either.
Yeah.
No, it's like it doesn't. It's not good, and we don't promote anybody that makes their products with
I mean, it doesn't
No
make any
synthetic
sense.
stuff.
Delta 8
I
or
feel like I'm
Delta
cheating
9.
on
We're like,
weed. I'm
oh,
not
no,
cheating,
thank
like-
you.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever tried it before.
It's not worth trying.
Yeah, they sell it at the gas station. It's not funny.
No, and my dad gave
not
my
for
mom
me.
a weird gummy and like fucked her up.
Yeah,
once, and she was
it's
like,
like-
"Oh my god!" bad, and she complained. And my mom is like, once in a while she'll smoke a little bit, or like
Yeah.
she's mostly complaining that I smoke, and she hates that I smoke. She's like, you should just do gummies.
Nah.
But then my dad gave her a bad gummy, and she like
Stay
hated
away
it.
from
And so
them.
now
Don't
she
do the
doesn't want.
gummies.
You know, it's like now she doesn't want to ever do anything anymore because she had like a
Yeah.
bad experience, just like.
And
earlier
that
this
to
year.
me is probably the worst of the worst, the edibles, because like you don't know what's in that stuff.
Especially if they're
I
not
know,
testing
I was
it, like,
Dad, do not eat
milligrams.
this trash. Like, ask me for something.
Yeah.
Totally. I just replaced my father's edibles. I got him some super chills. That's the brand I fuck with. I
Yeah.
love it. And I'm teaching him about dosing because he was taking a full 20 milligram, because instead of the strips, these are the 10 pack of the 20s, 20 milligram ones. He takes a whole edible at nighttime to knock out, but he didn't realize that he doesn't need that whole edible.
Yeah,
Now we
exactly.
started chopping them up into pieces,
Yeah.
and I turned that 20. We cut it into, first it was 4 pieces, and I had him just take a little
Fives.
quarter. I
Yeah.
wanted to see from during daytime.
Mhm.
5 was too much for him.
Yeah.
It was for my mother.
God bless his soul.
You know, he didn't get wrecked. He was like, but
He
I
was
told him
hot
he
shit.
wasn't gonna go to sleep. You know, I
Yeah.
wasn't trying. I want to get him to just drop the shoulders down. 'Cause,
Yeah.
You know, and
He gets tense.
so now we got into 2.5s for the daytime. So in the morning time, take that little piece because there's never like the edibles is never going back, but we can always have another little piece.
Yeah.
But it's important like to really dosing.
Yeah, hell
You
yeah.
know. But
Super
it's
important.
Make sure people are like dosing their edibles properly too.
Especially for people who are just getting into it or might have like no clue about it, because like it can really either turn them off completely and they'll never want to do it again if they have like that one bad experience to start, right? Like with your mom maybe or something like that, or it can go the opposite if it hits them just right and they're like, oh, this is perfect for me.
I mean, those are the horror stories we get, right? I smoked and I got paranoid. A lot of people didn't understand that was premature weed. So when weed is premature, it gives you that like anxious, like you got to move feeling, as opposed to taking a plant full term. You get like a different effect. The cannabinoids and the terpenes are a little different when taken at different times in their life cycles.
Yeah, when you get more of the a little later on, more amber trichomes and stuff like that, it'll give you more of that heavy, the knock
Body
you out,
feel,
more
yeah.
body feel. But like you said, if you pull it early, it may give you more of the uppity and a little more anxious.
Give me the old granddad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Me too. I
granddaddy.
like being sedated.
I know. Crazy enough as it is, just naturally.
Yeah.
And then living in New York, I feel like it's definitely, as much as I didn't want it to sink in, it just sinks in. You know, you're like, oh, the pace of everything and the energy can keep you like really buzzing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Sleep
problem
issues
is
can become a thing. Like
that's the
later on,
thing,
they've really
winding
set in.
down.
Especially as you get older, I feel
Yes.
like, right?
Oh my
yeah.
God, right there in my mid
Like,
30s.
Yeah, we're all in our mid 30s here, so it's
Yeah.
like I feel like you don't sleep the same as you did when you were in your 20s and
No.
teens, just because life hits you too, and you got a lot more on your mind. You have
Yeah,
kids, we have
especially
kids
if
now,
you've
we have
been
all this stuff, businesses and
traumatic
all
incidents that will like
Yeah.
really sink into your body and not let you kind of like
And if you're that type of person to harp on something that happened to you that day and like really think about it all day, I don't care, so I forget about most shit. But there's a lot of people that can harp on something that went on that day that they can't sleep. So I think for me, the hardest part of my day is winding down. Like being able to get to sleep at night, like close my eyes and shut my mind off.
yeah.
That's where like cannabis right now helps me the most.
I have a tech tip.
Same.
I like to do, so in the mornings I have like a mantra meditation do. Just one word I repeat over and over and over, just to kind of like, that's my zone into, thoughts come in and out. I use that same thing for nighttime, but instead of meditating, it's just that one word and put me to sleep.
Right.
So I keep saying that one word, and when I stop saying that word, I'm pretty much sleeping.
You're done already.
And it happens quick.
Yeah.
So,
That's dope.
That's a good
Meditation. That was all types of outlets.
I like the breathing 4, 7, 8. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8, and that usually like gets me good whenever my anxiety kicks in.
it's nice to have the tools and knowing about them to pull them out when you need them.
Yeah.
You know, that's just like I found really cool about collaborating with different brands. Like we did an event with Fidel out in California, Dockweiler Beach, and we had 60 people come out, and they came out to our event, but they came out off the strength of Fidel,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
community. And a lot of people there is their first time doing breath work, doing meditation, yoga. So I love it that we're able to plant a seed,
Yeah.
because it is a tool. It's something that, I just want to be able to spread that in. Because when you are feeling those feelings, sometimes we get caught up, we get stuck in that rut, and, so it's like, we gotta, you know, they call it like emotional intelligence. We gotta,
Yeah.
you know, we gotta step back and look at it and say, hey, I'm stuck right here. You don't have to be. We're one workout away from feeling good. One more rolling session.
And to do it naturally too, right? Because a lot of us that smoke cannabis do it naturally, but you're trying to look at all these other things that may affect your life, but handle them in a positive, natural light, as opposed to turning towards like a sleeping pill or a pharmaceutical and stuff like that. You know.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure. I try to avoid pills at all costs. Like,
Yeah, I try not to go to the doctor unless I'm like dead or something. Yeah.
oh my gosh, I was filling these little essential oil bottles last week. We were doing an event and I was including essential oil and aromatherapy as part of it. It's more of like a somatic experience where it's not about like how it looks, it's more about how you're actually feeling, so that people will work out. As somebody who's taught fitness in New York for the last 10 years, some people are like so not present throughout their whole workout. They'll be like even on their phone these days. And I'm like, what the fuck are you even
crazy,
doing?
right?
I'm
It's
like,
terrible.
yeah, they don't understand like what muscles are supposed to be working. So understanding people, getting them to actually feel and be present and feel what's going on in their body, because so many people are so disconnected. But anyways, I was filling these essential oil bottles and I smashed one with my fingers because I was putting the lids on, so this glass broke in my hand and I cut myself and I was like, ah. But like, I didn't want to go get stitches.
Oh, this
I don't
guy's
want
crazy.
to go to the. I don't want to
He'll
go
get
to the
staples
hospital.
in
I was
somebody's
like,
kitchen.
I had my head stapled in my friend's kitchen last year.
He's a psychopath.
I have a
No, I'm not
huge
that.
scar on the back of my head.
He will literally not go to the hospital if he doesn't have to.
Yeah, I don't have, like I said, if I'm
what
dying,
do you
I'll
mean
go.
your friend stapled your
Yo,
head?
Yeah, she's
literally what he
she's an
just
ER
said.
doctor, and I had a bad slip and fall, and I sliced my head open really bad and had a concussion. So I went to the ER, and it was like a 4-hour wait. It was like 11 o'clock at night, so I called her up. I was like, do you have a staple gun in your house? She's like, yeah, come over. So I drove over to her house, and in her kitchen, six staples right in the head.
Yo,
Back
no
to her.
anesthesia, no numbing, no medication, nothing.
Oh
Just
my
staples.
god,
I got a high pain
Psychopath.
threshold at the end of the day. But
Psychopath.
that's crazy.
back to your one comment on being in the moment when you're working out and you're
That
doing your
mind-body
things.
connection, man.
That I think the biggest thing for me in jiu-jitsu and why I have to do this type of method of training is because like you are 100% in the moment on this mat and there's nothing else, right?
No,
like
yeah.
you're just focused on the task at hand. And for me, there's a lot of that's for instance why I said I don't like running before too, is because it lets me think too much while I'm running. Like it doesn't get me like in the zone where I can get lost in what I'm doing. And like when I'm doing this, like I just love to be like lost, you know?
Yeah, same with dance growing up. Like I danced before I was in fitness. I danced professionally, and it's the same thing. You're gonna just suck if you're not, if you can't connect with your body and be present and know what's coming next and feel it, and then make it actually look like it has passion behind it. You're just gonna suck. So it's like, or you'll never be able to get the tricks. I was a B girl at one point, so it's like you beat yourself up learning how to do that stuff. And if you're not in your body, like there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no chance.
And in this
But
case,
then
you get choked
adults,
out.
as we grow up, we see people though that like never grew up doing any kind of like sport or any kind of anything, and right away I can spot them because they're not connected to their bodies because they never had to be.
Yeah.
So they're just in a workout because
Isn't
they're
that
like,
the saddest thing
oh,
though?
I gotta look good and I gotta be like in shape or whatever, but they're like trying and they're just not connecting. So I'm like, first of all, you're never gonna get there if you can't connect. And so I feel like as teachers, or like as a teacher at this point in my career, that's like a huge thing for me. It's like I'm not gonna keep training you endlessly if you're not even
Not
here,
into
because
it,
you're not gonna get any.
Yeah, I think one of the most
result from
beautiful
it.
things you can do is know your body as a person.
Yeah, I
know
hope to
yourself
just
at the
teach
end of the day.
people that and let them then continue with themselves. If you can't teach somebody how to do something when they're by themselves, it's like, have you really taught them? You know.
Yeah, if you always have to be there for them.
Do they really have the tools at their disposal?
Yeah, it's like, well, we didn't get to like in school, even though school's bullshit, we didn't get to like, okay, teach me, and then now like you be here with me and help give me the answers to the test. It's like, no, you had to do the test on your own, get the answers for yourself.
Yeah.
That's why I kept failing algebra 2.
Oh, same here.
I would
I
be
was
like,
sucked at math
yes,
too.
teacher, this makes sense. And then I'd try to do it and I'd be like, well, I just can't get the right answer. So I don't know, like,
Yeah, I went to summer school for math too. I got you.
I couldn't pass it.
I managed to stay away from summer school.
Oh yeah.
I did algebra 2 summer school and I still couldn't do it.
I hit it a couple of times.
I hit summer school once. I was like, I ain't never doing that shit again.
That was the worst.
I remember I used to wait for my friends Jason and Tyrone to come because summer school was right above my parents' house, was like right next to the high school.
Oh, shit.
So I'd wait for them to come home from summer school and then we was out.
Yeah. You were
You
just
never
waiting.
got cursed with the.
No, I don't.
Good job.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. My mom got me through high school. My mom wrote reports. My mom.
Oh my God.
It comes down to the
Yeah.
teacher a lot of the times too, right? If your
Yeah.
teacher's not very passionate, or if they don't really show you,
Yeah.
a lot of the times the teacher can make a big difference, you know? A big impact on somebody.
Totally.
It's just, it's hard to break through some people. Some people are a little more stubborn than others.
Mhm.
It takes a little patience. That's where weed comes in.
True.
Let me step outside. I'll be right back.
Oh man. All right.
I'm good now. Let's continue with this session.
This space is so nice. It's so cool that you guys like have the sessions in here and like.
Yeah, it's our headquarters.
Yeah, for now.
It's a beautiful gym.
We're trying to get our location in Mount Vernon.
Yeah, we're looking to open a cultivation facility in the legal market in Mount Vernon,
Congrats, man.
which is right over. It's only 20 minutes from here in White Plains. It's on the Bronx Mount Vernon border. Like the building next door is literally the Bronx. 5-minute walk to the 5 train. So it's like.
Oh, cool.
Accessible to people in
Yeah.
the city.
Yeah, we're trying to employ people from. At the end of the day, I'm born and raised Yonkers. He's the
From the
Bronx,
Bronx.
and the location's 10 minutes from where I grew up. 15, 20 minutes from where he grew up.
These
and
are all
stuff,
like
so-
Yonkers, Mount Vernon, the Bronx, are all communities that have been hit the worst by the war on drugs.
Yeah.
So we're able to provide opportunities to those people directly,
That's great.
as opposed to a cultivation facility somewhere upstate where,
We're a 10% employee-owned company too.
yeah,
So anyone that works for us
At the end
is,
of the year.
gets part of the profit sharing in the company. and
all
whatnot.
employees get equity in the company. Yeah,
Oh, gnarly.
Yeah.
that's crazy
Awesome.
stuff. But hopefully we can tie it up in like the next 6 months, and then we'll use that as our headquarters. We want to also use that as an educational facility for people to come in and try to beat that stigma on cannabis that's still very much alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, during this time when we're holding the property
Yeah.
and waiting for our license, we want to turn it into an education center for the community and try to destigmatize and educate, about the healing
And-
properties and weed and wellness, right?
Exactly.
And I say and stigmatize and destigmatize.
Destigmatize.
Not even, you are going to do it.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
are.
Yeah.
You already are. Just by doing this, it's like
Yeah.
it doesn't go one without the other because you can't just. I mean, you could just have all your wellness practices and not, I guess, be a cannabis consumer, but
Yeah.
it can't flip the other way around. It's like if you're smoking weed all day and eating bad food and not moving and not, you're not going to feel good. The weed's not going to be like some magic cure that doesn't. You have to like.
It's the
have
lifestyle.
Another, exactly.
Right. At the
So
end of
we
the day,
need
it comes
to.
down to the person.
Yeah,
Like,
but
as a person.
unfortunately, I think a lot of the times people see anybody consuming cannabis and there's still it is a stigma from
A
like.
lot of people.
Oh, he's a
There's
pothead.
still a lot of.
We had remember that one event we had my fiance's aunt. We were having a conversation here at the smoking room, and she's like, "Wow, you guys are potheads," and I'm like, "So what's wrong with that?" And at the time, our lawyer was here. He smokes pot. He's like head of the
county, Westchester County Bar Association.
Bar
He's like
Association.
top
Like,
lawyer in Westchester. He
super
smokes
smart
blunts with us
guy.
and stuff. Yeah.
smokes blunts with us, like super chill. So we're sitting in a room full of productive potheads, and I'm like, "So like, you're here, you're buying edibles, you're not a pothead?" She's like, "No." I was like, "How often do you consume cannabis?" She's like, "Every day." I'm like,
Only at night though. She
"Only
says.
at
I
night
said,
though to go to sleep." I'm like,
"You're a pothead."
You're a pothead. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a pothead.
It's
Like,
okay.
There are productive potheads in this world. You know what I mean? Like, I run a whole freaking business in New York. He runs multiple businesses with potheads to the max.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I smoked before this. I'm gonna smoke after this.
I feel like we need
And
new.
then I'll smoke later on tonight.
People still think of it as like, oh, pothead, stoner.
Yeah,
And then it's like,
so
do
crazy.
we need a new name?
But it's
like,
the
what
age,
can we
though.
be that doesn't sound like? Why
It's
do
the
they-
age gap. She's like 50 something.
It's
like,
definitely
about to
a
be
generational
60
thing.
years old.
Yeah.
So like she's still in that. She was born in that generation where like weed
can-
is bad,
I
potheads
mean-
are bad, stoners are there. Like
There's still people I think our age. Like I swear, I used to go to I'm not gonna say the name of it. People who know me know, but like I worked at a really nice CrossFit in Manhattan, and there were so many people there that did, unbeknownst to me, would like do cocaine, but then look down on smoking
Smoking
weed
pot.
because oh, it makes you lazy, it makes you this or that.
Or
But
just-
yet here they are in the
Yeah.
bathroom like blowing lines before they go downstairs and hit their lifts or whatever. I'm like, wait a minute. And I did not know any of this at the time when I was
That's
there.
so crazy.
Later on I learned like, wait, that person has a cocaine habit, but like they think I'm ridiculous for smoking weed. Like
And
fuck
to
these
take it a
people.
step further, like people who just drink and look at people who
Yeah.
smoke as like, oh, and it's
Yeah.
like,
And
I look at you and I go, oh, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, drinking's terrible for you.
Before my classes, like you know, it's my gym. I would
Yeah.
smoke a blunt right outside the door.
Mm-hmm.
I would go in there smelling like pot.
Yeah.
And if you guys didn't like my vibe,
don't
you had the
care.
option to leave.
Yeah, you wouldn't
I
be there.
wasn't. But this is my comfort. This is my happy home.
And
I
you're
built
a
this gym
great
for
coach.
myself.
Yeah,
and
word.
to share with others.
First and foremost.
This is my vibe and it's my tribe that I set. So
Yeah,
like,
word. If you
so
don't fit,
crazy. Oh, it was just
Yeah,
cool.
same thing here. Same
You
thing.
know, so it's like
if you don't fit in the tribe, then there's
No.
no reason to force it. And that same thing with
There's
us.
plenty of
After we
gyms.
trained, we smoked outside. Like we smoked right out front. I think we maybe had Zach. That one person
Yeah, no,
say something.
but pretty much, bro. We're like 4 or 5 people chilling outside, smoking a blunt right on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
We do it before kids class comes through, but yeah.
What's that?
We don't do it during kids
Yeah.
class.
Before kids class.
We don't do it during kids class.
Back there, we have a backyard.
Yeah,
So we have
we
like we have a grill back there. A lot of times we do a smoke roll, we'll be grilling. People hanging out, smoking back there. We got some tables, got a big Buddha statue and stuff.
Benches,
Just
fox grass.
So nice. I know when I came in here at first, their garage door opens on the wave, and it was so pretty. It's so nice to have a yard.
the train goes by though, so
Right
Here
there,
it comes.
right there.
We can hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if that
we're in what year? We're in 2022.
2022.
And right now you're in the process of getting the legal grow going on in Yonkers.
right, we're
Mount
waiting
Vernon.
for-
Mount Vernon.
We're
Yeah,
waiting
next
for
to Bronx.
cultivation regulations to come out right now.
Yeah.
Cultivation regulations haven't come out yet, so that's just what we're waiting for.
We're hopefully a few weeks away from the regulation drop, and then we're anticipating a license by next summer, basically.
So summer of 2023.
3.
Summer of 2023, we should have our license.
Yeah.
Where do you see you guys in like? Where do you see yourself or your vision for? Let's say 3 years from now, 2025, a couple years out.
3
as the
years
grow's
from now.
growing?
So I think I would like to say that I think we're going to be one of the biggest represented cannabis brands in New York, right? We're homegrown.
Yep.
We're
From here,
we're fortunate enough to have some really awesome investors that see our vision, see our story. So that's allowing us to open in a place like Mount Vernon, right? As opposed to going upstate and being hours away, where you have a lot cheaper real estate, but you're not doing service to the community, especially the communities that were affected by the war on drugs, racist policies, and you know, a community that we are basically raised in on top of it too.
yeah. They understood that that's what we wanted to be at the end of the day, and we didn't care to penny pinch on real estate or lease or anything like that.
It's not about the money at all, about the money at
For
the
us, it's really about the message of the company. Like we want to impact the community. Like we're from the communities that we're about to open this facility in. This is like we're organic. I've been operating a legacy market for like 10 years now, so we've got a pretty cool cult following. I see us being like spearheading New York cannabis in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, putting out good
Overall.
quality, letting people know that it's about the quality. And
Doing it with the right message and the community behind us too, which I think is going to set us apart from most companies. You know.
Yeah,
I feel
a
like
lot
it's
of
only-
companies put a social equity program in place, but it's not doing.
It's not
nothing.
authentic.
Yeah, it's not authentic. And it's like we heard about an MSO that like had to make cutbacks in their company. The first thing they cut was their like,
social equity program.
It's like most of these people put up a social equity program and don't really care about what goes into it. Like we want to really do things with the community. You know what I mean? We want to put things together, events together. You know, killing the stigma, educating. Education is probably most paramount of anything. You know what I mean?
So as you educate the people, they're gonna be seeking out your weed because it's gonna be the best out here in New
Yeah,
York.
we're
And
trying to
everybody-
create the best medicine for everyone. Yeah.
So the more educated they are, they're gonna steer clear of most of these brands that are out there because they're.
And I think you're right though. It's like it's consumer consciousness, right? And like especially nowadays, like consumers actually look into who owns the brand, who what the message of the company is, and the whole nine. So I think that is what's going to set us apart and allow us to really like project ourselves to be one of the biggest brands in New York at the end of the day.
And at the end of the day, we're a minority-owned company.
Yeah.
I'm a veteran as well, so we're a veteran-owned company, and 10% employee-owned.
Yeah, and that's amazing. Like you guys have set up everything so well, and then on top of that, to go on even a deeper level of wellness, just the same way that it's healthier for people to eat local foods and seasonally and
exactly.
locally. It's
Farmers
the same thing
markets.
when you're ingesting like whatever cannabis. It's like if you are living in this area, it's actually going to be more beneficial consuming things, as long as it's, you guys are growing the best, so it's like,
Right.
it's gonna be even more beneficial for people here, because that's what we're dealing with in our environment, these types of, because like our body interacts with the same way that like when you have allergies and you're supposed to get honey that's local to where you're at, it's because that's like the,
Yep.
the terpenes, and they're in all the plants all around, so
Local
it's not
plants,
just
yeah.
like cannabis plants that have the terpenes, you know, and
Yep.
so there's a reason that the local food and local plants and local honey is better for us, and people, we're all screwed up kind of because we don't eat seasonally anymore. We've just been able to get access to like food from all over the world at any time we want it, especially here in New
Yep.
York. We can get anything we want at any time, and so yeah, I think there's a lot that can be said for
Locally
local
grown.
and seasonal eating and smoking.
Yeah. Locally grown smoke, food,
Yeah.
Yep.
people.
I try to
People.
keep it all clean. I eat clean food. I want to smoke clean weed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
What for the rolling? What's the name of the event? Every first Saturday. You
It's
said?
it's a TKS Sensei Roll and Smoke. First Saturday of every month. Next one's November 5th here at the gym. Multiple vendors, training, gi and no gi. We usually have food here too,
All
DJ and stuff
local?
like that.
All local vendors.
All local. Everything is East Coast, New York grown. Pretty much all the flower here.
So this really helps your community bring everyone together. Gives it something to come to every month.
Yeah. People come here. Like I said, they don't even come to train jiu-jitsu all the time. Sometimes they'll just come to
Hang
get their
out.
medicine, vent, hang
Chill,
out.
vibe,
you know?
vibe out.
Creating that.
At the
The
end of the day,
community,
you
yeah.
can't go to someone on like the street corner and get too much information out of them about the bud that they got. When you come here, it allows our people an opportunity to interact with us
Love that.
and get like the real lowdown on every strain, and actually get to interact with the strains too. Like you can smell it. Oh, I smell this. Talk to us about it.
Have a conversation with the guy who put the
Just
time in to grow it.
connecting. And then when you're
Yeah.
consuming that, it's like my friend grew this.
Yeah.
The whole
This is
message
special
comes
right
behind
here.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
And
big-
it was grown consciously by people who consider themselves connoisseurs. You know, I'm not putting trash in my body. That's for sure.
Where do you see the monthly event growing into, or is there?
So we're November is going to be our 1 year anniversary that we've been
Nice.
doing it. So
Competition.
we've been doing we want to add some super fights into it basically and make it more of like an event and have like more spectators basically.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing some super fights and have like with a referee here and the whole nine, kind of make it like tournament style.
Jiu-jitsu competition.
Yeah. This way people could come and actually have like a show
Yeah.
to watch while they're hanging out and vending and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's fun.
And have it be one of like those premier events where people come and fight maybe for prizes and shit like that, prize money, you know.
Somebody's winning that pound of weed.
Yeah, or some bud.
Win some bud, win some
Yeah.
cash, you know. But eventually get it to that point where it's like, yo, you going to that fight next month, or are you competing in that fight next month, you know?
Yeah, and I think the cool thing for us too is we met a lot of people in cannabis from Cali and throughout the country that train jiu-jitsu as
Yeah,
well, because it goes
crazy.
hand in hand. So we have them coming through the gym. Some of them come to the events too. So it's like a hub for people, not just in the area, but in the cannabis community throughout the country that can come through, train with us, smoke with us, vibe
Yeah.
with us and stuff.
When people are in town and they see the events going on, they'll stop by.
It's nice to be able to connect not only with the medicine, they're all medicine, the movement's the medicine, and it's just
Yeah.
like,
Exactly. Yeah. Jiu-jitsu is the medicine. Cannabis, it's all about the wellness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we get some good networking on some days too. A lot of people connecting, a lot of legacy guys.
Yeah.
I really, I love everything that I'm seeing, like being, happening on the East Coast, and people coming up, like you guys coming out of the woods. You guys have been doing this, but coming out of the woods now because it's a little more. You can start peeking up.
A little more
Started
friendly.
Kind
Yeah.
of peeking out like
He
a
probably
year or
won't
two
show his
ago.
face until we get a license, but yeah.
When I get a license, this motherfucker will come off, you know. But until then, I gotta wait.
So New York has these competitions coming up.
There's a few cannabis competitions coming up. We have one going on that we're helping organize.
That's the New York.
New York Growers Cup.
Yep,
Growers
okay,
Cup.
cool.
We have a lot of entries so far. We're trying to represent the legacy cannabis community, right? We're trying to bring legacy cannabis growers, consumers, retailers into the same room as kind of like a really organic local networking event, right? A lot of these competitions that come in, they're like,
Money grabs.
they feel like money grabs. I'm not putting them together, so I can't say it, but it feels like a money grab because it's like an ounce of weed or 2 pounds of weed, cash to enter your flower, and then they sell your flower to consumers
And make money
and
off
like
of it.
judges packs.
Yeah.
VIP.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
VIPs and stuff.
And it's like it's clear it's all about the money for
it's
them,
all
you know?
about like the competition for money, right? So for us, we're trying to do a little different. We want people to come out, join the competition. It's only an ounce of bud and 100,
150 bucks.
150 bucks, like probably the cheapest and the lowest amount of weed you would ever need to get into a competition. But we just want to try to start building the legacy community. Like, get the people in the room that are going to be growing in this market, retailing in this market. Because once we go legal and get our paperwork, it's not gonna you're not gonna go to Cali to get weed to sell no more. You have to connect with guys who are growing locally, who have licenses. So make these connections at the New York State Growers Cup. You know what I mean?
Which is December 3rd in Tribeca.
We have a few cool sponsors, local sponsors as well.
Yeah.
A few out-of-state sponsors that really want to help the legacy community here. So it's coming together pretty good. And we got upstate growers, west, east,
Yeah, we
downstate.
managed to get over a couple hundred contacts throughout the entire state from like existing growers, basically.
Yeah.
I
so
like that
we're
you
trying
guys
to-
priced it how you priced it because it's gonna get the people to come out who aren't doing the biggest grows yet.
Exactly.
You know, and who do
Which
have
is
the
most
highest
people in New
skills.
York. Yeah.
Because then you one of these guys who grows who aren't doing the biggest can still get in,
Yeah.
and this could really be that come up for them.
Showcase their talent.
100%, get their name out there. So I
Yeah.
really respect that.
And we're trying to do it where people see the authenticity through it, and like we're not trying to charge an arm and a leg and stuff like that. You know, we're not about
Yeah.
the dollars at the end. They just want to bring the community together, get it going.
Yeah. We want to be able to bring growers, retailers, and consumers all under one roof with that intention, you know, with growers being able to meet retailers, retailers being able to meet growers, consumers being able to meet retailers and growers, you know, like it all goes hand in hand. We just want everybody to smoke good weed at the end of the day. That's it.
We're all the same, like,
I just want people to smoke good weed, bro. That's the whole reason why I started growing, so I could smoke good weed. And then people started liking it. Like I was giving it away for free when I first started growing. Like I was
Same,
just
yeah.
here, try it, here, try it, here, try it.
feels great. I
And
love
next
giving
thing-
away weed.
Yeah, I love it.
Especially good weed.
And
Yeah.
then it's my weed that I grew.
That you grew too,
you know?
yeah, it's like-
And they get it and they smoke and they're like, yo, and it grew from one thing to another and it just became what it is now. But at the end of the day, I grow weed because I love weed. I smoke weed. Like it's my whole life. You know?
How can someone become a new
new member
A new
per se.
member.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have verification processes. They just gotta contact us through Instagram.
So Instagram's the best route.
Instagram's the best route, and then we have a private Discord channel.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
cool.
all my members, I think we already broke 200 and something members. It's a place where we drop our flower every month, if you're a member, and on the Discord channel, we'll put out, hey, we got new releases coming, new strains coming, and when we drop the strain there, you're able to contact us and like, hey,
Delivery service set up. Good.
yeah, we have a delivery service
4
in
boroughs.
New York
Awesome.
City. We don't go out of White Plains, out of the city at the moment. No Jersey. We're only in New York. We don't cross state lines.
And then on October 26th, just to fill you guys in on how like far we've come, we've actually had a senator's office reach out to us too. So October 26th, we're meeting with Senator Sanders in Queens, along with some people from OCM,
And
local
multi-state
government,
operators.
and existing multi-state operators. So we're gonna get to sit at the table with all these people and talk about some framework for the legal market, basically, and how MSOs and legacy can thrive together, basically, in the market. You know.
That's amazing.
I mean,
Yeah,
we ain't
so
got no
looking forward
choice.
to that.
They're here already.
Yeah.
They were the first ones allowed to get licenses in New York in 2014. So we don't have no choice but to try to figure out like what their avenue is and what our avenue is. You know
And try
what
to
I
put them in their place too. So.
mean? Yeah, we're trying to like, really there's no need for an MSO at the end of the day. If they kept it in the hands of people who really loved what they do, they'd always have good quality cannabis. The problem with a lot of MSOs, and it might not be all of them, but the problem with a lot of them is they want as least employees as possible. They want to automate as much of the process as possible so they can get as much as the profit back.
Business.
It's business.
Trying to be
at
that
the end of the
Budweiser,
day.
you know?
You know, they want to be Budweiser, and that's cool. Budweiser exists. And then you have your small little microbreweries who are also thriving. So I feel like that's the same approach that we need to take in cannabis. Educating, like, look, the MSOs are producing Budweiser weed. They're producing the weed that should be at the $20 price point.
If you want the
$30
real
price
medicine,
point. If you want the higher quality stuff, then you want to go for these brands, these companies, smaller brands, smaller companies. You know what I mean?
As we educate people, you know,
Small
that-
batches
it's
is
just
where it's at. So
people
our
underline that
facility is not just 100 lights or 1,000 lights in a flower room. We have small flower rooms to
Maintain
like,
quality.
maintain quality and maintain that like the new strains, like cycling new strains out with the old strains. Like we have like 18 rooms or something like that.
18 flower rooms. Yeah.
18 flower rooms.
Where does that cutoff come from? Like, so where is
Small
the cutoff?
batch and
yes. When is it? Where is that attention? Where does it go too big? Where it starts
It's
to lose
when
quality?
so when you use the capabilities of touching each plant.
Yeah.
When you lose the chance to really walk through each room and get eyes on every single plant, that's when you start to lose the quality.
I think you said that you have to be able to touch the plant.
You have to be able to touch the plant. You can't just set the plant in a room and not see it for 4 months and then harvest it and expect to get great quality. That's not the case. So many things happen in the flower room. There's so many microclimates. One plant gets infected with something that was in the line. If you don't catch it right away and change that piece of the line out, then the plants around it start getting infected. And then at the end of the run, you have these subpar buds that you have to sell. When you have smaller rooms, you're able to touch each plant. You're able to look through each plant. And when you hire a good amount of people as well, we're gonna have enough people that will be able to always touch the plant. Our goal is not to have like the slimmest like crew ever to try to produce the most bud possible. Like we want to be able to make sure everybody's in those rooms every single day, looking at every single plant, so we can maintain that quality.
So you guys made a plan to make sure this stays quality, and this is how we're gonna do it.
We have SOPs,
We
policies,
actually,
and procedures from beginning
a
to
few
end.
months ago, we went out to Cali too. We made a connect with Ryan from Doja Pack.
Met with
And
Preferred Gardens.
we met with guys like Preferred Gardens out there, JBZ, High Tech. So we went to some of the guys who are producing like the highest quality cannabis in the industry right now
coming out of California
to try to like, see what they're doing in their facilities and we can mimic some of that stuff over here.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's a good.
You gotta learn from the best.
100%. It's like, what are we doing, and who's the best? Who can, like you were saying before, like we mentioned role models before. I heard
Right.
you. And it's even as we get older, the school teacher may not be it, but who is that role model in our field that we want to be? How can we become friends? Not like, but how can we become friends
And learn from each other. Yeah.
absolutely.
Because especially for our instance here, it's like, yeah, we've been doing it here, but we haven't been doing it at that scale. These guys have been doing it at that scale for 10, 15 years, sometimes even more than that, So it's like, we're not going to try to do something here and reinvent the wheel at the end of the day. It's like, you might as well learn from the people who've been doing it.
And improve on that.
Yeah.
You know?
That's awesome that that you guys, were just, hey, come on, and they're
And that's
in
what we
that
found in
community.
the industry. It's kind of like it does relate to jiu-jitsu too, because it's kind of like when you meet people and you have the same mindset, you kind of vibe right away. Like when I met him and stuff like that. And like if you're a jiu-jitsu guy or girl, like once you meet that person, like you kind of vibe right away. It's kind of the same thing with cannabis. It's like if you're a pothead, you're into cannabis, like boom, you're kind of vibing right away.
Right. I've never done good business with somebody who doesn't smoke pot. Like in the cannabis industry, I'm not talking
Yeah,
about
we don't
anywhere
deal
else.
with people unless like they
Like,
smoke,
In the cannabis industry, anybody that I've ever tried to work with, it never works out when they don't smoke pot because they're just
Including
not
our
doing
lawyer.
it for the same reasons.
Like our
The
lawyer smokes
reasoning
every
is
day.
different. They don't understand that things can happen. Like
Yeah.
I had a whole mold problem last year that happened to my crop, and I had to throw a whole crop out. I was dirt poor, broke for like 2-3 months because I would never sell moldy weed. In
The
somebody's
integrity,
eyes,
Yeah.
in somebody's eyes who doesn't deal with the growing process, know about the growing process, doesn't care about the growing process, they just want to see dollars. And if there's no dollars coming in that month, there's a problem. You know what I'm saying? So, as a grower, I have to deal with people that understand weed and the growing process. If you don't understand the growing process, you gotta at least have some type of love for the plant to work with a grower, because things happen. And like a 3-month timeline could turn into like a 6-month timeline, sometimes depending on what happened in the garden. You know what I mean?
I think that's probably the worst part of the industry is the people that just want to get into it for the dollars at the end of the day too.
Yeah.
Without the love for the plant,
It happens in so many.
Every
in
industry.
fitness, it was
Everything,
like so many
everywhere.
people. Oh,
That
it's
same
big
thing
thing
that
in New
happened
York.
with
Let's
But
open a
right?
studio with
Who,
no
the best companies,
experience.
the
Like,
best companies always are the ones and the biggest are the ones that
Have
care
the best
about it, have the
message.
best message, have the authenticity there and stuff like that.
It's true.
Creme de la creme.
Yeah.
Always rise.
Always rise to the top.
Yeah, and like when we said we were out in Cali, it's like it was very, very like apparent. It's like you're either here or like you ain't shit.
Yeah, there's like
There was, like, no middle
ground.
ground,
In like the California cannabis market, there's like you either getting dirt cheap prices,
Yeah.
or your stuff is going for top quality. There's like no middle ground.
It's crazy seeing like over the years. Like I remember we were heading out west. I want to say probably 2008. Back then, like outdoors were going for like 2,200, right? And we come back over here for 44, 45.
Yeah, hella expensive.
Now it's like 600 a pound or some shit.
You know, you can get indoors
get
just
crazy.
for that price.
13,
Yeah,
14.
yeah. You could even get indoor because the branding is not there. Like no one knows
When
it.
they
But
don't
also
have a
what they're
brand,
using to
it's-
grow and.
Yeah.
But it's like to see what was fire then is mids now.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
You
like
gotta
the
have a
level
brand
has
now.
been so the
You
marketing
have to
is.
have the branding. with
You're
it.
one skill away from
They have
that.
to
You
know
spread
it.
this. You know, one skill away. Like you can grow the most firest weed, but if you can't sell, if you don't know how to sell it, if
You
you're
got
missing-
shit.
You gotta like so. That's where I'm at. Like I'm learning other new skills.
Yeah.
So I can because it's on me until I have the whole team on board. It's on me to wear other hats. So
yeah,
it's like.
absolutely.
But
That's how I was. I had to hire a team as well now. But I have 2 guys that help me out in the garden regularly. Before it was just me, and that shit's a nightmare. Retail, grow, package, do all that shit on your own. Scaling up, you gotta bring people onto the team. And you gotta bring people that believe in the message, right? Because if they don't
Totally.
believe in the company or the message behind it, they're not gonna give you their full work, their full 100% effort.
yeah, that's why I told you it's great with up. Any you wanna?
I wanna come to one of the roll parties.
Yeah,
I wanna
Yeah,
come to
November
one.
5th. I'll send you guys the flyer once it's done for sure.
November 5th, you guys come through,
You guys,
bring your workout clothes, do some jujitsu.
you want to set up like a little table too or something like that?
I'll see if I have any more. I
If
definitely
you
want
have
to be
anything,
here.
yeah.
Yeah, you could set something up.
If you just want to just come and chill, hang out, and check it out.
Yeah.
Do we bring food?
No, we usually have order food and stuff like that. Yeah.
Order food.
Sometimes we might be grilling next month. We got a dope grill in the back and stuff. We got a couple of the guys who've had their chefs and stuff like that too. So.
Yeah, BK's caramels are fire.
Yeah, he got the craziest edibles ever, man.
Yeah.
Ah.
So unbelievable. I'll give you a pack.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
that's so
They're
good.
caramels, is that?
Yeah,
Caramels,
and
yeah.
he's a chef. He has a couple shops, one in Queens, one in Long Island. Stuff. It's called Press 195.
Yeah.
Really good sandwich shop. And then everything's like made in house, like that type of place. And then he makes these caramels, and they're like the best edible I ever had in my life. 50
But it's like one
milligram
of those
juice.
things where he really loves what he does,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
shows in his
That's
work.
Yeah.
You know? Like he could tell you the cut of his French fries. Like
Yeah.
this guy,
With
like,
a smile, right?
his potatoes.
He
Like
loves it.
yeah, we cut our spuds. And
He's like, they're a
give
quarter-inch thing on an egg. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, bro. It's
I
like,
want to
really?
go there.
He really loves what he
It's
does.
no,
you know?
honestly like amazing
Where are
food
they?
there. Press 195. He's in Queens
Yeah.
and Long Island. Yeah,
Press 195 fire.
really awesome sandwich shop.
Mozzarella sticks are good too. Well, yeah, you gotta work with people that really believe in the message of the company and love what they do. Because I've had some bad experiences working with people that don't really care about what we do. You know.
Sometimes you have people like that on board, and they just, you have them on, but behind your back, they're not fully in it on the same page. You don't want to have anyone on board who isn't, because we don't need no bad
Yeah.
energy on board. People talking, putting that into the air.
I've had
not
people
wishing
work
us
for me.
well.
I've had people work for me and try to go off and start their own brands.
Yep. They take your blocks to start
Yeah,
building
they
their
try
own.
to take like the little bit of clout they got from working with me to like go and do that, but it doesn't work. It doesn't pan out. I've been doing this shit for too long. 10 years in this like legacy market, people already know the brand. They know where to go. Like they know if I'm not messing with nobody no more, they know it's apparent. Like I ain't messing with them.
And what's crazy with what you did too is that like 10 years ago, if you wanted to grow on a bigger scale, like you were going out to California. You know?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So like he took the risk of just staying in New York and having to break it all down himself and make all the retail sales
Yeah,
himself.
10 years ago, nobody wanted to hear New York grown.
I
Who
had
wanted to
one-
hear New York grown? It had to come from Cali. If it wasn't coming from Cali, it wasn't like fire or top shelf at one point in New York, you know?
I did one
So-
grow
But
in
it
New
paid
York.
off. Look at that, it paid off.
But it
now.
paid off. Now I gotta break everything down.
Yeah.
When
I
I
have
lived
my
in-
client base.
When I lived in Riverdale, I had to grow on 260th and Library, a little house, right? And we had little white fence around. And we stayed there for 2 runs. I was living there, and after the first run, I'm like, I can't live there. I have too much anxiety. So I ended up leaving. And the guy who showed me the ropes, he kept it. But then we had one other grow. You mentioned out west. We bought a piece of property. It was on
Yeah.
Shasta, and I had partners with back then. But we were sending work back and forth, and some of them ended up getting arrested, and trucker ended up
Yeah,
flipping,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that
Just
goes. So we ended up parting ways, but we had a piece of an outdoor property out there.
Yeah.
That was really.
Yeah, so I buckled down and I stood out here. Not as big as I was in Cali, but I prefer it here. I like being home.
Well, I know we're running out of time.
Yeah.
I want to thank you both. Thank you, Kolektor.
Yeah, thanks-
Thank you,
thanks for having us
Sensei
on.
Matt. Thank you both for sure. I'm really happy we got to finally meet.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to get back out here on November 5th.
November 5th, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be here.
Yeah, we'll shoot you guys the flyer. You guys can share it online too. We'll get it
Absolutely.
online. Yeah.
I think we have a thing on November 5th.
Ours is 5 to 10 p.m. I don't know what time.
Oh,
yours is.
good, perfect. We'll come after we're
Is
done.
yours earlier
Ours
in the
is
day?
early in
Oh,
the
perfect.
morning.
So it
We'll
works
be
out.
done by
It's gonna be an eventful
11
day
in the
right
morning,
there.
12.
Right on.
I'll coordinate the
Oh,
car.
fun. November 5th is a party day.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks so much, guys.
No, thank you.
Appreciate you, bro.
Very nice to meet you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was great. Thanks for sharing everything with us. Thank you. Thanks for showing me that I